Good afternoon, good evening. I want to thank every one of you for joining us today. Unfortunately, we are meeting in very difficult times to discuss yet another war, another violent conflict that is affecting millions of children and their family. This time, it is in Europe. And this is leading to a grave humanitarian crisis and human rights violation. Today, millions of children in the Ukraine, according to UNICEF 7.5, and their families find themselves trapped in situation of violent conflict and displacement, with limited access to food, health services, psychosocial services, and particularly protection from violence. Millions of children are witnessing the horrors of violent conflict, and we know that violence and deprivation will have an enduring impact on the lives of young children and their family. That is why we have to act now. We have to act now in the Ukraine and in any part of the world where all children are suffering from war and conflict. The international community, non-governmental organizations, civil society, and families are rising to the occasion to respond to the humanitarian crisis in the Ukraine and the region, to mitigate its impact on children and their families. For example, UNICEF Executive Director Catherine Russell called for a suspension of hostilities to carry out urgent humanitarian action. UNICEF does this all the time. When there is war, we ask to stop the war to help children. And she also called for the protection of children in Ukraine. And half of the people on the move are children, and they need special protection. So, for example, UNICEF appealed for $276 million for children in the Ukraine and 73 million children for the regional refugee response plan, which is also a United Nations plan. Today, we like to hear from you what the ECPC action should be. What is our niche, all of us? What can we do? I know there is despair. There is also no hope sometimes, but the hope is in every one of you and your action in the field. And we know we can make it. We also know that we have two wars to fight. We know that in conflict, inequalities and cycles of racism can be exacerbated. As we have learned this week through the media, this is the case in the Ukraine and the region. We know that some groups have been marginalized and not accepted in countries because of their color. I think this, and also making comparison between suffering and discriminating between suffering children. This is unacceptable. And that's why we have another war to fight. And I always say, equipped with the Convention on the Rights of the Child and other conventions, we have to tell the world and remind them of its first principle of the Convention on the Rights of the Child, non-discrimination among children, and every child have to have his rights fulfilled. I just want to remind you of this article. Children should not suffer discrimination, irrespective of the child or her parents or legal guardian, race, color, sex, language, religion, political or other opinion, national, ethnic, or social origin, and also the birth or other status. And we should remind the world that peace cannot be achieved without justice. And we should also remind the world that we should restore the right of every child in the Ukraine, in Europe, and in other parts of the world. So I thank you, and I depend on you to do this.